Hello friends. Okay, so for the next 2 or 3 days, I'm going to be trying to read the entire Folk of the Air trilogy. I actually do not know if it's called the Folk of the Air trilogy or the Cruel Prince trilogy, but I'm going to be reading these 3 books. Am I excited? I don't know. I don't really have any feelings about this because I've never, I don't even know what these books are about, so I don't really know anything about them. All I know is that there's this really mean guy, and then the ending is really cool. Besides that, I have no other frame of reference for if I'm gonna like these books. But I'm ready. I'm prepared. I'm doing this during my beginning of spring break. This is the first weekend of spring break, and I especially made this time for these books. It is currently Saturday, 3 p.m. So I'm hoping to either finish these books by tomorrow at 3 p.m. I don't think that's going to happen. Or the next day at 3 p.m. We're going to hope for the best. We're going to see what I can do. And it's going to be a good time. So let us... Wow. Okay. Let us begin. For Cassandra Clare, who has finally lured into fairyland. I love that. That means they're probably best friends. Also, look at this map. It's so pretty. Okay, so it's been a couple hours since I last updated. And my last update was the intro to this video. So, I've only read the prologue. But that's okay. That's okay. It's not about speed. It's about comprehension. I'm trying to fix the lighting. Does that work? Okay, so I've read the prologue. There's 3 sisters, Vivi, Jude, and another girl, and their parents have just died. Vivi is not a part of the family. She's someone else's daughter. There's an evil guy that's the father of Vivi, and I think Vivi's a fae creature, I'm assuming. And there's a lot of death in the first prologue. I was low-key surprised because I know this is like kind of dark, and it started off dark. I think it's only gonna get darker from here. Also, I think I read the beginning of chapter 2 and not sure what's happening there, but this guy seems really evil. Also, I definitely thought Jude was a boy, but then I realized I realized she's a girl because of the beginning, and also because I thought Jude was a boy because I got Jude from, what's that? The Raven Boys, and in that I'm pretty sure there's a Jude that's a boy. Never read that. There'll be a reading vlog for that one too, but first chapter was cool. At first I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to read this, but when I got more into it, I was like, yes, this is the YA fantasy I need in my life right now, and I think it's going to be a good time. Okay, I'm definitely reading way too much into this. However, Maddox is the guy that killed Jude's parents, and Jude just said, "Many nights I drifted off to sleep to his rumbling voice reading from a book of battle strategy. And despite what he'd done and what he was, I came to love him. I do love him. It's just not a comfortable kind of love." Okay. He killed both of your parents, first off. Second off, there's no reason to why he deserves love, because just because he tucks you in at night and reads you freaking bedtime stories does not mean you need to love him, because he killed your freaking parents. But also, complicated families, I guess. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stop now. I'll stop reading, but stop thinking too far in, because I think I'm just gonna have to look at this stuff from a very baseline level, because I don't want to think too much about the weird words or weird sentences that end up in YA books sometimes. So I'm just gonna continue reading. Okay, I just got to chapter 4. I'm confused. So, from what I know from watching many booktube videos, Cardan seems to be an important figure. He might not, he might be the romantic figure, I don't know. He's being set up as someone who's going to come back later, and he seems important, but he doesn't seem like the villain, so I have no idea yet. However, he just ripped off a little boy's wings and punched him in the face for not bowing down to him. So he seems like a pretty bad guy. So I feel like he's gonna do way more bad things, and they're still gonna fall in love, and I'm gonna get mad over it because he's a bad guy, and yeah, and he's like scary and seems abusive. But I don't want to speak too soon to what's gonna happen, but that's just my prediction for now from what I've gathered from the booktube videos I've watched about this. I'm scared. I have one more prediction. If Cardan is a love interest, which it already seems like he's gonna be, because Jude already said, oh, when he's in front of me, I get so mad that I can't even breathe. And that type of shit always means that there's gonna be a little romance involved between the lovers and the haters, whatever, or the enemies to lovers. So I think that Cardan is going to have a Zuko arc from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I think he's gonna turn into a better guy because of Jude. I really hope this doesn't happen, because Cardan seems like a really evil guy, and I think he's gonna do 10 times more evil things before the romantic part. Also, it gives me very much Darkling vibes from, what is it called? Shadow and Bone. I should know that. The TV show is coming. Anyways, that's what I'm thinking for now. That's another prediction. I can already tell this video is going to be about an hour long because of how many things I have to say. Anyways, I'm on page 36, chapter 5. I'll be back. Okay, hold on. I have one more thing, and then I promise I'll get back to reading. Okay, on the literal back of the book, it says the quote that I just talked about. Sharpen your blade. Oh, and sorry. Of course I want to be like them. They're beautiful as blades forged in some divine fire. They will live forever. And Cardan is even more beautiful than the rest. I hate him more than all the others. I hate him so much that sometimes when I look at him, I can hardly breathe. Okay. If Cardan is on the back of this book, he's obviously the cruel prince. We knew this. But he's also the love interest. I don't know why that took me so long to realize. Okay. Kind of hate it, but we're gonna continue on and see if it gets any better. Maybe he'll have a Zuko arc, maybe he won't. Even if he does, he's still a bad guy, but we'll see. Okay, I'm 62 pages in and I'm loving it. I'm super intrigued with the story. I want to know more, and I didn't realize how dark it was gonna be. Like, it's so dark and there's so much more intensity than I thought, because usually when I think of YA fantasy, I think about someone finding out that they're part of a magical world and then going into that magical world and going on an adventure. But in this book, they're already in the magical world and they prefer the magical world over the human world, and there's a lot more different conflicts, I think. Anyways, the part I wanted to point out is the part about Jude being on her period and the way she has to use pads or tampons, and she has to buy those from the mortal world. So she explains how the fairies also bleed, but they only bleed once a year, or they bleed annually, while obviously a period is monthly. So I really like this attention to detail because it's really interesting to hear about this. Also, I feel like that's never explained in any books. Like, once they get to the land, like, I guess you don't have to explain it because I guess it's like unnecessary, but I just think it's a really nice addition and a really nice detail added to this that makes me feel like I'm much more inside of a girl's brain than anything else, because I think, like, I would be worried about this. If I had to join the fairy world, I'd be like, where am I getting my pads? Where am I getting my tampons? So I'm just glad that this was added in. Ultimately, I'm enjoying this book a lot. I'm still unsure about Cardan. I don't know. He's just giving me very bad vibes, and I don't know if I'm gonna like him in the end, because I know he's supposed to be like bad boy, love interest, but he seems a lot worse than bad boy. But we'll see. I'm also realizing, as I said, that this book is very dark, so it's very interesting to read, because I don't think I've read a book that is this dark that's also YA, but I also don't have much experience in YA fantasy, so it's interesting to read. I just finished chapter 10, and I genuinely do not understand what the F Jude is thinking right now. She literally just joined Prince Dane's service, and then she asked him to make sure that no one controls her, but then there's always a little trick involved in these enchantments, and in that enchantment, what's his face, Prince Dane said that only he can control her. I don't know why you would choose this life. Like, even the way she explained it, and even the way that she justified it, sounds freaking stupid, and I'm angry. Okay, so I'm at the part where Jude goes to spy for Prince Dane, and she goes to Prince Baelkin's house, and apparently Cardan lives there, and she discovers that Cardan is continuously abused by Prince Baelkin, who's Cardan's older brother, and that's where he's learning all his cruelty from, which, okay, I do feel for him, and I'm definitely getting that Zuko arc coming along, and I'm definitely feeling like that's gonna happen by the end of the last book. However, the question is, does that excuse Cardan's cruelty? Because even Jude says it. Jude says, "It doesn't make me like him any better, but for the first time he seems real. Not good, but real." So I'm glad Jude has a good mind about this, and she's actually smart about it. But I honestly don't think this is gonna stay for very long. I think Cardan is gonna get his amazing redemption arc, and everything's gonna be better, and everything is gonna seem all romantic for Jude and him. So I'm worried for that, because Cardan is not a good guy regardless of the cruelty he endures, because I feel for him in that sense, but at the same time he's just as cruel. Like, he literally was like, "Hey Jude, come kiss my foot," and weird stuff like that. So he also ripped off a wing of a boy, which I already mentioned, but it added to the story in a way. Yeah. Hey friends, okay, so it's been a minute since I've updated, and also it's the next night. I don't think I read anything today. I read some during the day, but besides that, I haven't read anything. It's like 10 p.m. I think right now, and I just got done with book 1 of The Cruel Prince. I'm currently on book 2. A lot of things have happened. So Cardan is a spy to Prince Dane, but Prince Dane just died because Prince Baelkin just killed him, and now Prince Baelkin wants to be the king, but no one wants to crown him, and he just killed off a majority of his family, and Cardan, who is, I think, the only living kin right now, has to crown Prince Baelkin, but Cardan hates Prince Baelkin, so we're gonna see where that goes. He has 3 days to figure that out. I think that's gonna be what the majority of book 2 is. I'm excited. It's shaping up to be a really interesting story. I don't think much has happened at the moment, but we're definitely learning a lot, and it feels like a beginning book, like the first book, but at the same time I'm really enjoying it. Cardan seems to, I think we're at the point where Cardan's going to be shaping up into a better person. I also think he's going to be the king and not Prince Baelkin, because the next book is called The Wicked King, and I don't think Prince Baelkin is important enough to name a whole book after him. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Cardan, so that's my prediction for right now. Besides that, I'm just gonna get back to reading. I'm excited for book 2. I think I have, how many more pages? I think I have like 200. Wait. Okay, I think I have like 130 pages left or something. So I'm gonna try to finish it all today. I do have an early morning tomorrow because I am going hiking with a friend. However, I'm gonna try to finish it tonight and hopefully get started with the next one tomorrow. I did say that I would finish all 3 books by 3 p.m. tomorrow, but we all knew that wasn't gonna happen. So I'll just be happy if I finish this book tonight and start the next one. Okay, so I just have 60 more pages left and things are changing. So Jude is a lot more evil and a lot more power hungry than I thought and I assumed. So that's kind of crazy that she's like just like eager for this power and so greedy for it. And Cardan is turning into this like golden retriever boy who's kind of wimpy and kind of scared, but I also don't know if it's all a lie because I'm only on page 302 and I didn't complete the chapter, so we'll see. However, I didn't realize how much the main character wouldn't be like a hero. She would be someone who wanted power, and that's basically her drive right now, to get that power. And I understand because her whole thing is that, her whole motive is that she has never had power before and she's just a human, so she's trying to make it in the fairy world, which is interesting. But yeah, that's what I'm reading right now. I think every character has really good motives, and I think that's what makes this book really good, and I think that's what Holly Black did really well. She gave characters a motive, and then she gave Jude some really good background story, and then also provided her with a goal, and then also provided her with reasoning for that. Sometimes I'm like, does this reasoning really make sense? But for the most part, it has been making sense, so I'll accept it. I'm just so excited for this ending. I don't want it to end, but also I know I have 2 other books after this. So, also we've just found out that Oak could be the king of Fae, which, okay, kind of had a feeling, I think, that he was going to be involved in some way, but didn't understand fully. But that's interesting. I'm excited to see where that's going to go. Besides that, I'm going to keep reading, and it's going to be a good time. Guys, oh my gosh. Okay, Cardan just admitted that he hates Jude because he thinks about her all the time. I'm going insane. Okay, another thing. The rationale. Apparently, okay, well, let me start over. Apparently, Cardan doesn't want to kill people, but he's okay with hurting people. He simply wants people to get hurt. But I honestly feel like that's still bullying. So I don't genuinely understand, like, why he's the love interest. Like, is he gonna get better? Because low-key, as I said before, this is a Zuko character arc. It's a Zuko redemption arc, and it's so clear because at first he does horrible things to the person he hates, and then he's probably going to join forces with Jude, and obviously there's going to be a romance. I'm excited for the romance, but at the same time, this is a Zuko arc, and I just want to point out that I was right. Also, I was also right that Locke is a bad guy. I think I said that he was suspicious. I might not have said it, but I was thinking about how Locke is really suspicious, and I'm glad that more is being revealed about him. Also, the fact that Locke is literally worse than anyone combined, like, it's insane. He just like feeds off of bad situations, and he feeds off of taking from people. So that's kind of scary, and I really feel bad for, I think her name is Tareen, Jude's sister, because she definitely deserves better. I think she's just a girl who wants the perfect life, and she's not gonna get it with Locke. So that's interesting. Also, Jude said wicked prince somewhere, and I was like, wicked prince, so maybe he's gonna be the king. Wicked king, foreshadowing. What the heck? Okay, Jude and Cardan just kissed. I'm so beyond confused. What the frick? Oh my gosh, that happened way too fast. That was literally a sentence, and she went for it. She freaking went for it. I think it was really obvious that she also wanted him, but the lack of thinking that was written in this and just going for it, oh my gosh. Okay, we're gonna continue reading and see what else happens. Oh my gosh, so many metaphors. Whoa, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I didn't know it was gonna be this juicy. Oh my gosh. Okay, when I first was reading this and then I saw the way Locke's kiss was written with Jude, I was like, oh, this isn't gonna be that spicy. This is low-key really spicy. Okay, I'm going insane. I'm going insane. What the frick-rack just freaking happened? Oak just crowned Cardan. Cardan was supposed to crown Oak, but now Oak crowned Cardan. I'm going insane. There's 7 pages left. I'm freaking out. Oh my. Oh my gosh. Okay, Cardan's freaking pissed. He says, he's pissed at Jude, so he says, he lifts his glass anew, mouth curved in a mockery of a smile. And to Jude, who gave me a gift tonight, one that I plan to repay in kind. That was a lot. I'm gonna finish the epilogue and then come back and give you my full thoughts. That was insane. That was insane. Okay, I have a lot of thoughts. First off, that ending was so insanely crazy. Okay, first thing I love about this book is that no one in it is morally a good person. So everybody wants power, everybody's super power hungry, everybody's willing to do whatever it takes to get that power, and nobody's a good person. And I think just watching their motives and just watching their desires for the things they want is such an interesting story, first off. And second, watching the reasoning behind everything that's being explained and how Holly Black explains everything is also amazing, because I think that sometimes I was a little bit confused about who is who and how they're relevant and what happened and like who killed who and what baby. I was a little bit confused on that. However, the parts when I did understand all of that and then I went into it, and I like when Jude was talking about how like she needs to do this in order to do that, like make a plan to make sure that Oak is king but Cardan is king. So all that stuff and all the planning and all the stuff that she had to do, and just the way that Jude talks about every family member and how she like just the way everything is explained is what I'm trying to say is freaking amazing. Oh my god. Okay, that plot twist with Cardan becoming king, like I love that that was so hidden from us and we finally understood. At least I think it was hidden from me, because I genuinely did not know that was going to happen. I did not guess it. I did not guess any of it. I assumed that Cardan would be king, but I honestly didn't understand how that was gonna happen, and that was so far from my mind when I was reading the ending that I couldn't even comprehend what was happening when it happened. Also, the fact that Cardan and Jude are low-key fighting now, like, I know it's gonna be a romantic later and they're just gonna get back into it. However, the way it goes from them like kissing to like them now literally like fighting and like hating each other is insane. That ending where like Cardan like is like, oh, it's all yours, and then he gets off the throne. Insanity. Okay, this was an amazing read. I honestly do I want to give it a 5 out of 5 stars? I low-key do. Okay, I low-key do. I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 5 stars because I loved it so much. I do think there's problems with me understanding the explanations for stuff, but honestly I think it's because I was reading it either too fast or I was not comprehending every single point of like who died and who killed who. I didn't fully understand everything of that. However, I don't mind. This was amazing. This was awesome. This was such a fun time and I'm so excited for the next book. I loved this experience, and I think Jude's character is so interesting. I think the fact that she's like very much morally gray makes it so much more interesting than her being a good person, because I think I'm generalizing again, in a lot of fantasy books there are a lot of like girl main characters that are like good from the beginning, and I don't think Jude is a bad person, like an evil person. I just think that she's very much power hungry and she has a desire and a motive to get more power because she's always cast as this human, and this human who isn't worthy of anything because she's not a fey creature. So that was amazing. That was insanity. I'm so excited for the next book. Also, a little confused. Are they fairies or are they fey creatures? I'm confused because there's a thing where there's like a chandelier and Jude was like, oh, there's little fairies inside of the chandelier to cast a light. So I don't think they're fairies. I think they're fey creatures, and I think there are fairies in this land that are like much smaller. I don't know. Anyways, also I do think that Cardan and Jude are equally just as bad, because I was thinking like, oh, Cardan's such a bad guy, and I'm not excusing him because I do still think he's a very bad guy, and I don't think I think he's a violent person in a way. Like the first scene where we see him ripping off some kid's wings is not okay. However, I think Jude is just as bad and Jude is just as horrible. So that dynamic is really interesting, and I'm interested to read it. Also, the enemies to lovers dynamic is great, is fantastic. I'm so excited for the next 2 books. I'm gonna get started on those now. I don't know if this is gonna be a 3-part vlog or a 1-part vlog or just a big vlog, but we're gonna freaking see, because I have a lot of thoughts. And yeah, okay, I'm gonna go read the next book now. Hey guys, okay, I'm currently 88 pages into The Wicked King. I just got back home from hanging out with a friend from my college, and I've been reading all morning, and I just got back in bed, so I thought I would do an update. It's been a pretty fun ride. I don't think the first 88 pages were as interesting as the first book, only because in a first book you're like learning everything and you're understanding the world, so it has a little bit more intrigue. But when you already know the world, a lot of the beginning is like some minor details and then some explanations of what happened, or like who people are in the first book and like what they did and stuff. And it's a lot of just re-explaining, because you know how these books come out every year. And yeah, it's basically just some mini summaries and then some plot lines. I'm really interested in seeing what the dynamic between Jude and Cardan is going to be. I honestly think like there's definitely going to be some like romantic stuff early on, I think, because it's already like there's already a feeling of Jude wanting to go back to that and like yearning for it, I think, and I'm just feeling that a little bit. On Cardan's end, I don't know, Cardan kind of like really hates Jude right now, which is interesting. Also, more than the plot, which I think the plot is interesting as well because of the whole switching kings and oak and stuff. However, more than the plot, I do enjoy Jude's character, and that might be solely because I'm a character-based person, but I also just think like Jude's character is what's like emphasized so much. Since we're hearing from her perspective, there's so much on her character, and it's so interesting to read about. So I'm just really enjoying that. Besides that, I think I'm gonna get back to reading, and I'll check back with you when I'm at least halfway through, hopefully. Yeah, this is going by definitely a lot slower than I thought. I thought I would like have all 3 books read by now. Didn't happen, but that's okay. I don't mind. I'm just excited to be reading this because it's honestly such a fun time. So I'll go back to reading. So apparently there's a spy in the court that's betrayed Jude, and she can't understand who it is, but I low-key think that it's very, very obvious that it's her sister, Tarine, because she's acting suspicious, one. Second, she said a couple things that were sus. That's the same thing. And then 2 or 3, I think it's just obvious that she would do something like that because she's obviously turning towards a different side. And I think we've gotten a lot of suspicious acts from her. So I don't know why Jude is stupid enough to believe that she's not the traitor, even though she probably is. That's just my guess for now. But I really, really think it's Tarine. If it's not, oh well, but I really, 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 really think it's Tarine. I really think it's Tarine. So we're gonna see. Okay, I'm currently on page 122. What chapter am I on? I'm on chapter 12. And as of right now, there's low-key a lot of politics and a lot of strategy, more than like things happening. There's just a lot of talking of the things happening, and this is a middle book, so I kind of understand that. I just think Holly Black's books like just start off slow regardless. Like even her first book was a little bit slow at the beginning, but I kind of expect it from the middle books. The middle books are always the ones that are just like all set up for the last book. I do wish more stuff happened, but what can you do? Okay, first off, the fact that I've been in my bed for this entire reading vlog is a mood. It is my reading place, so I guess that's okay, but still, it's fine. Anyways, I just got past the little, that's my brother yelling. I just got past the little spicy part, and it was cute, and I'm like waiting, and I'm just waiting for them to get together. But at the same time, every single time that it happens, it feels so forced. Like, I don't know. I think I'm expecting romance, but I honestly think this is a darker read, so it's not gonna be as romantic. But at the same time, it feels like it's just being inserted in places, like the romance and the spicy scenes, and in the other parts it's just Jude thinking about it, and then it gets inserted in. This time, what's his name, Cardan initiated it, but at the same time I'm like, it was kind of like so forced. It just felt forced because like it just did. And I have just finished The Wicked King by Holly Black. I'm acting like this is a wrap-up instead of a reading vlog about these books. Anyways, I've just finished The Wicked King. It was alright. It wasn't my favorite. I think The Crow Prince was mind-blowing in a sense that it was a first book and I was learning so much about the world, and then the ending was just so cool. In this one, I think most of its goodness came from the ending as well. It was a lot of waiting for things to happen and things not really happening, so I didn't find it the best, but I think the last book is gonna be really fun. The only thing is, like, this whole, like, switching between Cardan and Jude's dynamic, like, they're either hating each other or they're, like, sexy with each other. I don't know how to explain it. They're not really romantic. Like, it doesn't feel romantic from either side. It just feels like infatuation and desire, which is interesting to read. Yeah, it just, like, comes up in, like, really small bits, like their romance, I guess, or their infatuation. Like, it just comes up in really small bits, and it doesn't feel like the center of the story, even though, like, it does come up a lot, and, like, a lot of Jude's thinking is like, oh, I can't stop thinking about him, or whatever, shit like that. So I don't really know what to think. I think Jude needs to be a little smarter in this book. Like, I think she was really smart in the first book, and she's a little bit stupid in this book. The part that was interesting was when Jude was taken and she was under the sea. I thought those scenes were really cool. Everything after that was interesting. It just wasn't, like, mind-blowing as the first one was. So honestly, I think I'm just gonna give this, like, a 3 stars. It was all right. I think I expect a lot more from Queen of Nothing, but I'm gonna try to go into it with lower expectations. I don't know, we'll see. But I'm glad I read it. It was a good read. I think the cover is honestly stunning, and I kind of just want to buy the book, for the cover, but I don't know what's gonna happen. It's beautiful though. So I'm just gonna get started and get reading Queen of Nothing now. Okay, so I am 136 pages into the Queen of Nothing, and not much has happened, but also a lot has happened. A lot of the things that are happening are things that are part of the plot, but honestly, most of the things feel just like set up for the ending, and I wish it wasn't like that because it honestly feels a little bit slow, but I'm still very interested in the story, so that's also interesting to me, that the fact that it is very slow, but I am still interested in the story, and I honestly can't tell if my interest is from the romance or it's from the plot. I have no idea. However, it's keeping me interested, so I can't be mad at that. Also, Jude's kind of annoying me a little bit. It feels like most of her anger and her conflict is mainly because of a lack of communication with Cardan. So all the anger she holds toward him is a lack of communication, and we can tell, like, the reader can tell, that Cardan has something to say to her, and there's a mention of some letters that he was writing to her when she became the Queen of Elfame, and then he banished her, but there were some letters that he was writing to her in the mortal world, and she has no idea what those letters are saying, and they haven't communicated what the letters are saying, so I'm pretty sure he didn't betray her, and it was all a plot to do some stuff, because she is the real Queen of Elfame now. She's not the Queen of Nothing. So I don't really understand. They could literally say a couple words to each other and I think things would be fixed, but I might be wrong about what Cardan said in those letters. However, besides that, I wrote something in my notebook. Hold on. And like I said for the last book, I also think that in this one, it's just a lot of repetitiveness of love and hate through Jude and Cardan. Like, honestly, every single book has either been they're hating each other and they're loving each other and they're hating each other and they're loving each other and they're hating each other and they're loving each other. And the love isn't even love, I feel like, because it's like the emotions don't feel as strong, and I don't feel like their love was developed in the beginning. I feel like they just fell into the romance and the sexiness and the steamy parts, but they didn't fall into attraction. Instead, they fell into infatuation. So that's interesting to think about. It's interesting to read. I still like being in Jude's mind. It's just really filled with a lot of anger right now towards Cardan, and it's low-key annoying me. I honestly cannot understand how Jude doesn't get that Cardan is on her side. Like, I don't understand what game she's trying to play or what game she thinks she's playing. Like, it makes no sense to me. Every single second she thinks that what Cardan is saying is being said with like a double-edged sword, which is another phrase that was used in the book, but it's not. I think he's on her side, and Jude is just unwilling to understand that, which I get, but honestly I don't feel like the motivation is as strong as it was in the first books for how Jude is thinking, and it's really annoying me. Communication is happening. It's happening well. Jude and Cardan are finally telling each other how they feel, and they are confessing their love, interest, mistakes, I don't know, their trust. They're confessing their trust, and it's such a good time because it took long enough. It literally took 3 books, and obviously that's how trilogies work, but I do wish the parts where they were romantic in the past hadn't happened, because those weren't motivated by anything, so it felt weird. So I do wish those hadn't happened, or I wish they had happened and the confession of love had happened earlier, and then the problems what had happened after the confession of love. I don't know what I'm saying. Basically, I just wish there was communication, and I'm glad it's happening now. It feels a little too late, but that's fine. So I've been reading, and okay, so every time they mention Cardan's tail, I get a little bit more grossed out, because he's supposed to be like this hot, like sexy boy, and I feel like sexy is literally the word of this freaking reading vlog. I've used it so many times. Anyways, he's supposed to be this hot guy, and we're supposed to like love him for being all hot and dark and steamy, but every 2 seconds when Jude mentions that Cardan has a tail, I low-key cringe inside, and I'm like, that's gross, that's disgusting. And then she's like, oh, the tail, I'll read it. His tail lashes the air behind him, showing all the emotion that's not on his face. That's so gross to me, and I just hate it, and I don't want that. I don't want to be reading that, and it's everywhere in this book, and it low-key grosses me out. So right now, Maddox is about to parlay with the court, or like with Cardan or something. So basically, Maddox is supposed to challenge Cardan to a sword fight, but what I think is going to happen, what I predict is going to happen in the next couple of pages, is that Jude is actually going to fight Maddox, because there's a lot of talk about her abilities to fight him and also her inabilities to fight him. So I think that's what's going to happen, and then Jude's going to have this big power because of her connection to the earth since she's Queen of Elfame, and she's going to win. And that's my prediction. Okay, so it is the end of this reading vlog. I have finished The Queen of Nothing. It was alright. It wasn't my favorite. It wasn't the best. It was just okay. 3-star read for me. I just felt like there wasn't much happening. And I low-key, I need to stop saying low-key. I already knew what was gonna happen. Like, okay. So in the end, basically what happens is that Cardan turns into a serpent because he breaks the crown, and then he turns into this serpent, which that was out of pocket. But after he turns into a serpent, Jude must decide what she's going to do about that. Is she going to kill him because that's what the prophecy says, or is she going to find a different way to save him? And I already knew she was going to kill him, and then he was going to rise out of the serpent, because that's like a regular thing that happens in these fantasy books, and that's what happened. So I wasn't that impressed by that part. I feel like I'm yelling. I need to stop. I'm actually at the library right now. I don't know if I mentioned that, to return these books, because The Cruel Prince, the first book, is overdue, because I kept it so I could read it, because I hadn't read it since I had gotten it, and then I finally finished all 3 of the trilogy. Yeah, it was the ending, okay, the ending always gets me of every single book, but the ending was pretty wholesome. It was cute. I loved it. But besides that, all of the stuff leading up to the end, I felt like we were like setting up for this big battle or this big thing at the end, and nothing came through with it. There was no big battle. Everything was fixed pretty easily. Jude, literally all she had to do was cut off the serpent's head, and then Cardan rose from that, and she was only sad for maybe 3 seconds, and then Cardan came back. So I still liked being in Jude's perspective, as I've said before. However, it just got weaker with every book. And I think the only reason I liked the first book so much was because I was learning so much about the world, and I really love first books for that. And once I actually get into the series, I start analyzing way more of the way the author is writing and stuff. So yeah. Also, like, throughout reading this book, I honestly thought there would be another one. Like, that's how this book is structured, because it only gets the ending in the last 30 pages. And that's so rushed to me. Like, usually the ending should be at least 50 pages in order for everything to assemble itself smoothly, or not smoothly, whatever happens. And this fell short for that reason. So 3 stars. It was still very enjoying. It wasn't like I was dreading reading it at any point. It was honestly a very easy read. It was digestible. It was not too hard to understand or hard at all to understand. There's a person that's a teenager who's sitting in her car next to me. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So that's it for this one. Okay. I'm gonna be returning it now, and hopefully I can edit this vlog. It's honestly gonna be like an hour-long vlog, and most of it's just gonna be me talking about the Cruel Prince, and then me hating on the Wicked King and the Queen of Nothing, but that's okay. Also, I had other stuff to say. I still didn't believe in the romance between Cardan and Jude, and that was really hard of a stretch for me to make. And at first I was like, am I in it for the romance or the plot? And I honestly have no idea what really drove me to read it more. I think kind of the plot, because the romance fell flat. Besides that, I really like Heather. I think she's an awesome person. She's so smart, and she's honestly one of my favorite characters. I also love Oak. Oak is amazing. Yeah, that's it for this reading vlog. I really enjoyed this time. I think I'm definitely going to be doing more of these series reading vlogs. I think they're long enough to keep me entertained to doing them, and then I also think I just love talking about books and rambling about them, so it was a fun time. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!